fellow graduates, for giving me the privilege to speak to you today. So without further ado, let me begin. So I was thinking about how to start with a speech to present at this year's commencement, and I thought I should not be cliché and go back to my freshman year of college. Therefore, I decided to be strikingly original and go back to my last year of high school instead. Specifically, I went back to my HMC application, and in particular, the required essays. There were 3 options. You had to choose 2. The one that I omitted had a prompt as follows, and I quote, "What troubles you most about the world around you? Assuming the obligation and opportunity to change your world, where would you start? Describe your cause, why it's worthwhile, and your proposal for its resolution." Now, as a high school student, I had a truly crazy idea that I would just use neurobiology to create emotion-controlling drugs to force corrupt politicians to behave kindly and justly, therefore getting rid of all evil in the world. Today, I am quite glad I did not submit that essay in my application, as it is quite possible that if I had, I would not be standing here graduating with you today. So I was rereading this question, and I thought, today, 4 years later, I think I can give a slightly more mature answer. So why not make that my commencement speech? But then, I was struck with a new problem. How do I answer this question in a way that is relevant to all of my fellow graduates listening to me? All of us are troubled by different things in the world, and all of us want to resolve problems in some way or the other. Some of us will go on and do research in basic science and math. Some of us will become business people and entrepreneurs. Some of us will pursue engineering, and some of us may do something totally unexpected. But we all have the obligation and opportunity to change the world, whatever we choose to go into. So the question is, where do we start? I did some thinking, and I believe the answer lies in practicing some basic principles that can be applied regardless of what we choose to do in our lives. So I thought a little more, and I came up with my own idea of 3 such basic principles that I think we have all learned in one way or another during our time at Harvey Mudd, and that I believe we will all practice to make positive change. The first principle is humility. Every day I have been here, I have been awed and amazed by my peers. Everyone I know has been challenged in some way or another, whether it be through courses like freshman humanities or systems engineering, or through something less tangible, such as how to get along with a roommate who has a very different personality from you. This place has forced us to recognize that we can learn a lot from others, and we must not forget that. We are soon to be graduates of a first-year technical college in one of the richest and most powerful countries in the world. With such status, it is oftentimes easy to fall prey to arrogance and dismissal, thinking that people in less fortunate circumstances have little to offer us. Nothing could be further from the truth. Many people in places and situations less fortunate have much to teach us about, for example, how to survive and be resourceful in difficult times. Or for instance, someone with a different political perspective from you, even if you don't necessarily agree with them, can teach you to think more deeply about your own opinions and points of view. These are all illustrations of the very general importance of humility for continual learning, which is central if one wants to make a positive change in the world. If you really stop to think about it, every individual that you meet in this world knows something that you do not know. But at the same time, you know something that they do not know. Teach and learn. The next principle is moderation. By moderation, I mean the fact that although it is important to specialize and find one's niche, one must not forget to keep the bigger picture in mind and hone all aspects of life. I have found that I am happiest and most productive when I don't let myself get absorbed in a bubble of work. And I have observed similar phenomena in my peers. To truly optimize one's experience and overall impact, it is very important to find a delicate balance, mixing focus and intensity in a particular task with knowledge of what that task will mean to the rest of the world and to the rest of your life. To be able to do this, we must take care of our physical, emotional, and mental health by diversifying our everyday activities. Have some outside hobbies and interests. This process of moderation, by forcing us to go beyond our immediate career and everyday life, enables us to understand the diversity of people and perspectives in this world. This is, fundamentally, tied into one of the most important lessons Harvey College tries to teach us. We often grumble about the core, or about the humanities and social sciences requirements. But they were meant to teach us to not be too narrow, and to appreciate that there are many different ways of looking at the world. The problems of this century are interdisciplinary, and more, we will find ourselves having to deal with people outside of our training. It is essential that we continue to moderate ourselves in order to make such dealings go as easily as possible. The final principle I have to offer you is collaboration. In a sense, this is a product of a chemical reaction, with the two reactants being the prior two principles, humility and moderation. If we are humble enough to be able to learn from others, and moderate ourselves to be able to communicate with those outside of our focus, then it follows that we would be able to work together with others to solve major problems. We have all practiced this principle in one way or another during our time at Harvey. It might have been through going to a friend's dorm room at 2 a.m. to finish the last problem set. It could have been to going to Uganda to work with the AIDS support organization on HIV awareness and education. It might have been joining a relief support group to go to New Orleans over spring break to help rebuild the homes and infrastructure of the victims of Hurricane Katrina. Or it could have been picking up ways to work with people all around the world to spread a love and passion for astronomy. Whatever our status, we have all discovered that, cliché as it may sound, no person is an island. Today, as we go out into the world, teamwork is more important than ever. The challenges that our generation must attack, whether they be climate change, the economy, poverty and disease, or what have you, are much too great for one person to tackle alone. They affect all of us, and they require input from many different points of view. So there it is, my answer to the question. Where do we start in changing the world? By practicing these three basic principles: humility, moderation, collaboration. HMC.